everybody, and welcome back to the Daft on Draft podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Miller, joined as always by my co-host, Corey Kinnan, and we have a very special episode today. We are building a Frankenstein, a safety out of the 2025 draft class. We are man coverage, processing, route recognition, explosiveness, fluidity, run defense, and versatility to build our ultimate safety. And instead of pitting one another ahead of or against each other this time around, because of the lack of names to choose from here, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, safety is a position for the heady. It is a position of, like, a lot of these skills, a lot of these traits are tough to like wade through the entire class, because the very best of the best are the guys who are going to have the physical traits to go along with the mental side of things to be a top end prospect. We'll talk a little bit about guys who I'm a little bit lower on that are great athletes that I do have on here. And we will talk about guys who might be good at something on here who might not be the best safeties in the world. But we will talk about that. Let's get into it here. Yeah. First of all, Corey, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready to discuss. Yeah, we were going through this and we're like, we are overlapping
on all
two categories. So like, why not just build our own here? Build one big one. And this is a big episode for you, the safety connoisseur of draft Twitter.
I do love. I wouldn't call myself the safety connoisseur of draft Twitter. But I'm probably the biggest cheerleader for safeties in. When I say draft Twitter, I'm not even like on Twitter anymore. But in the draft realm, I guess is what I'll say. Yeah. Again, I left Caleb Ransaw off because I used him at corner. Yeah. And so I left him off. Honestly, funny enough, I could use him at corner, but I couldn't really find a spot for him on here, which is interesting because there's way more corners than there are safeties. But
for sure, it's a position as well that like the analytics community has openly said, like, this is the toughest position for us to grade. We don't really know how to grade it. Our grades are really volatile on safety.
This is linebacker, dude.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
It's a tough position. Again, yeah, like what are you supposed to do when a guy's playing single high 20 yards off the ball all the time? Like, how do you grade that? Like, and there's so many fun elements. Like I went to dinner combine 2 years ago with one of my scouting buddies. We were at a steakhouse, but it was me and like 4 other people. And we were talking about Kalen Bullock, the USC safety drafted by the Texans last year. And he was talking about how much he loved Kalen Bullock. And one of the guys goes, he can't tackle for shit. And the guy goes, I don't care. I'm playing him 20 yards off the ball. That's what I want him to do. So like, there's so many different things you can ask a safety to do that. Like if they can't tackle, who cares if you're playing free safety? Like
Marcus Williams is the perfect example. He played 30 yards off the ball for the Saints and was fantastic as a single high. Goes to Baltimore and he's no longer on the field. Because he can't be a split field safety. And that's the thing with safety. That's the thing with tight end too. The position is so versatile. The position is so unique to your defensive or offensive scheme. And so you can pick and choose a fit for a guy. And so when you find a guy like in my opinion, Nick Emanwari, who can do everything, you just let him do everything and you let him have fun on the defensive side of the ball. But let's get into it. Man coverage. It's Malachi Starks. It's the only. Talk about why it's Malachi Starks, and then I'll piggyback.
I don't think there's a deficiency in his man coverage game. I think he can press man from the slot. He can press man from the outside. Press manning from the nickel is not an easy thing to do because your hitters have to be ready to go either direction. That's not an easy task, but I think he can press man from the slot. He can press.
Not only that, but the boundary. When you're playing guys in the slot, you're often playing guys who are off at the ball.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you're pressing guys who are already
they got a yard between you. Yeah. I think he catches extremely well in off coverage. I think he sinks into hip pockets really well, and he's an off man. And again, this goes back to being heady as well, but like he can tell what routes, like he can anticipate route concepts, and he can kind of get a jump on where he knows his guy's going to run around. But then, like, when we're talking about staying in phase down the field as well, like Malachi Starks is one of the best safeties that I've evaluated in recent memory, who he has interception after interception in phase down the field on these slot fades, on these 9 balls where he's making unreal catches at the catch point because he's just in phase, he's in position, and then he knows how to locate the football in the air and man coverage as well. So as a safety, I think this guy could play corner if a team was like, yeah, we need you to play outside corner.
Yes.
I don't think I would want him. I mean, he could make a lot more money doing that. I don't know if he wants to do that, but where's the hole in his man coverage profile?
He's to me, he's built like Jalen Ramsey is. And I've said that for a while. Like Jalen, I think he is like the safety version of Jalen Ramsey, where Ramsey was talked about quite a bit as being potentially a safety at the NFL level. I think that he should probably make that switch right about now. But Malachi Starks could be the opposite, where he goes and he plays corner at the NFL level. And I think that he could do it at a high level. 6'1", almost 200 pounds, ran a 4.50. And then I really think the fluidity, the intelligence that he plays with, and he played a very difficult role at Georgia. He was given tough tasks quite often, and he was incredible for multiple years.
From the time he was
a guy that
years
you
old
don't,
on, yeah,
just a guy that you do not have to overthink, and a 5-star. Like it's from the very get-go. Dude was a dude. A dude was a dude at Georgia as a freshman.
Week 1 against Oregon, like that neutral site game against Oregon when Bo Nix was starting his, like, from day 1.
Yeah,
just unreal player. Somebody's gonna get a steal in the first round because he's not gonna go as high as we think he should.
Yeah,
unreal to me. But all right, processing and route recognition. Again, we both have the same guy here as well. And I'll let you go first because you've been a big fan of this player since day 1.
First of all, he's a Notre Dame defensive back, so he's already going to be intelligent. And I do think that there is a lot of perceived luck when it comes to ball production at cornerback and at safety. But when perceived luck persists over multiple seasons, and you have ball production over multiple seasons, there's a bit to it about being in the right place at the right time in the right uniform. And on top of that, Xavier Watts is always in the correct place at the correct time in the correct uniform because of his intelligence and coverage, because he knows exactly where he's supposed to be. He's able to process route combinations in front of him and click and close exactly where he needs to be. He's able to come downhill. He's able to scoot back in corners. He can do it all as a safety. He just runs like a 4.55, 4.6. And like that's really all there is to it. And at safety, that is more than enough to be an elite NFL safety. An elite NFL safety. And if it was like, he reminds me so much, and it's why I loved Antoine Winfield Jr. too. The only difference between the two is Antoine Winfield Jr. was far more explosive, and that's about it. That's about it, because he was smaller. He was definitely smaller. And the other thing that I like about Xavier Watts is he isn't afraid to come downhill and chop it up too. And so he's got the coverage chops, and he comes downhill. I honestly think the only reason why he is not a consensus first rounder is because of the perceived lack of athleticism. He's the exact type of second round or third round safety that we see all the time end up being a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro eventually.
Yes. Safety among, as like in terms of athleticism, is like,
I just don't care.
Way more about anticipation and smarts than it is about, again, range.
The same thing with linebacker. Devin White can run a 4.3 all he wants. It takes him a half second to process. He runs a 4.8. Yep.
100%. Yeah. So I'm right there with you on Xavier Watts as well. That play in the national championship game where Will Howard, it was on mesh rail, and Travion Henderson was running the rail, and it was the exact right read. But Xavier Watts made the most insane play on that football that I think I've seen a safety make in maybe I'm speaking a little bit hyperbolic there, but just an unbelievable play on that football to meet him at the catch point. And they wrestled at the catch point, which was a heck of that's like good on good battle, as good as it gets right there. So Xavier Watts, easily, in my opinion, in this class, easily the processing and route recognition guy to use in this exercise. Explosiveness, this is where we have different names here. So we can talk a little bit about nuance here if we want to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. The estimated 40 time, because he didn't run it, is for Kevin Winston Jr. is a 4.54, but I thought he was much, much more explosive on tape. And this is the guy that I want to talk about. The NFL or the draft community seems to love, and I just don't understand it because of the processing inabilities and just like not having a ton of time on task. And at safety, like you really need to have that bit above your shoulders, or it doesn't matter how athletic you are. And his deployment at Penn State was a little bit raw. It was a little bit simple. And that's just kind of Penn State's defense. They run a lot of a single high, cover 3, cover 1 type of stuff there. And then he would come down into the slot, but he was in a lot of man. And I actually kind of like him as a reactive athlete, but as a processor, I just don't see it as much. And he's fluid too. He's got an 80-inch wingspan. Like the dude is built incredibly well. 6'2", like 215. He's got everything that you want, except for the experience to be a quick-witted player on the back end. And I just don't know how long it's going to take him to get to NFL speeds when it comes to processing.
Yep. I agree. So for me, I went with Virginia safety Jonas Sanker here was my guy when we were doing this separately, and we each had, this is the one of the two categories we had different names. And I really like Jonas Sanker, man. I think he's probably a little bit better with his heels in the ground, moving like eyes to the football than he is over the top. But that doesn't take away from how explosive I think he can be and how lethal he can be when he turns and runs as well over the top. But where I see the explosive from Sanker is when he sticks his heel on the ground and when he gets downhill pretty quick. And he tested like it as well. Tested the testing matched the tape in Sanker's regard. Top 100 player on Dane Brugler's big board as well in the Beast. So Jonas Sanker is who I went with here.
The next one is fluidity. And we have the same guy here. So caveat here, it's a little bit of fluidity and a little bit of like twitchiness, because
quick twitch, yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's like it's a little bit more jarring. It's a little bit more violent than it is smooth, but it still gets you there. Like for me, and rest in peace, it reminds me a lot of Jeff Gladney and his feet, where it was just like, oh my God, his feet are like, I can't even keep up with him. I can't even keep up with how quick his feet are moving and how quickly he's able to turn and burn. And that's how I feel about Andrew Makuba. Makuba is somebody who played a primarily slot role at Clemson. And a lot of people talked about him as a potential first rounder at one point. And then it came out from Dane that the NFL kind of saw him as a PFA before going to Texas. And I didn't see that. I saw a day 2 player. I still see a day 2 player. He went to a different role at Texas where he played on the back end, played a little bit of split field, played a little bit of single high, and he was outstanding. He was outstanding. And he was a completely new player. He reminded me this year of, and it might not be a great comp from a production perspective at the NFL level, but Dax Hill, who I loved coming out of Michigan. I loved Dax Hill coming out of Michigan. Will the physicality be able to hold up? We'll see. He's smaller, but the reactive athleticism and some of the plays we saw him make for that Texas defense were nutty, and it has a lot to do with his explosiveness and fluidity.
Yep, 100%. Same name there. That I still remember when we were watching when the SEC championship game was happening, and we just kept texting like, "Oh, there's Makuba again. There's Makuba again.
Yeah.
There's Makuba
Yeah.
again." Just like over and over and over again. Run defense. We had different names here as well. Another one of the few categories. I went with Ohio State's Lathan Ransom, and I went to Ohio State's Lathan Ransom because my player comp for Lathan Ransom is Bullet Bill from Mario, because that's how he plays. Whenever you get that Bullet Bill in Mario Kart and you just steamroll through everybody, like, he just plays with reckless abandonment when he's coming downhill. He will throw every ounce of his weight at the ball carrier. And he's an awesome open field tackler, really good in the box, drop him down as well into the box. So I went with Lathan Ransom right here for run defense. And I really think that some team that utilizes like these split field drop safeties quite a bit is going to get a nice player in Lathan Ransom at a pretty decent cost.
Yeah, teams that still run like a lot of rotational cover 3, where a guy gets to come downhill and play that robber role is absolutely perfect for him. The 2 high shells have him rotate down. He is a missile, man. He definitely is, and he's got the build for it too. He's like 6 foot, 205, 210 pounds.
He's a thick boy.
Yeah, for sure. My name here is somebody who I waited so long for to get it in coverage, and I think this year he finally did. And it's Alabama's Malachi Moore. I thought that he was much better in coverage this year. Took on a little bit different role for Alabama this year as well, but 5'11", 195, 200 pounds. And for me, I put this down as run defense, but for me, it's just coming downhill in general, like a missile is what he does. The screen game, he's fantastic at blowing that up. He makes no qualms about coming up and hitting people. And there's a couple guys like that in this class. You know, Jalen Reed is a little bit like that as well. I think Hunter Wohler can be like that a little bit as well. And so there are some dudes who can be physical from this class. But for me, if I want a guy who I think on day 3, you know, whether it be early day 3 or mid day 3, who can come in and play a little bit, a lot like the Notre Dame billing and my bias towards them, I'm going to have a little bit of a bias towards Alabama safeties because I know the role and I know the defensive playbook that they have to deal with at Alabama. And I know for a fact that their job at the NFL level is going to be easier than it was at the college level.
It's a Xavier McKinney thing. The Xavier McKinney thing. Yeah. Love it. Wrapping it up here. We got our last one here. Versatility. This one, also a pretty big no-brainer here.
Yeah, it's the 6'3" guy who's 230 pounds and was a one-of-one athlete. And, he is also a great processor. And he can also play single high a little bit, although we don't see it very often. And he can also come down. Like, play him at linebacker and play him off the edge, maybe. Like, the only thing we didn't really see.
Sticking him outside corner, yeah.
He's 230 pounds. I think he's got the length. Let's rush him off the edge to see what he's got. And see if he's got a little Jihad Campbell to him.
I love it. Nick Immanwori,
man.
Yeah. South Carolina. Like, what else?
What a freak.
It's so funny. Like, we have to talk a little bit about this because you and I both had him as a top 10 player in October?
Yeah.
Probably October. And then the combine happens and we're like, yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. He's a freak athlete. And then people are like, well, he's only an athlete. And it's like, but we've had him in our top 10 since October. Like, we haven't played a game and it's March now. And now you're saying he's just an athlete and he's not actually a good football player. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Where's the disconnect at? I don't get it, but he's a freak. And he deserves to go
people
first
don't watch.
round.
It's because people don't watch safeties or understand safeties.
That's why you should listen to the Daft on Draft podcast 4 times a week.
Yes. And 3 times a week in the off season, most likely.
Yes. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Love it. Yeah, but Nick Immanwori here. Again, he can play split. He'll drop into the slot. He'll drop into the box. He can tackle. He can backpedal. He can turn and burn. what do you want the guy to do? He'll do it. He could probably make a really nasty brisket as well. He could probably slow cook a nice brisket too.
Yeah, I bet he could.
Yeah.
I bet he could. Any safeties that you want to bring up?
Should I bring up Billy Bowman just to piss you off a little bit?
It's in one ear out the other at this point. I'm pretty sure he's got like a 65-inch wingspan.
Yeah, I do like Billy Bowman. Again, he's another one of those quick, twitchy, kind of quick-footed guys. Not so much fluidity, but quick twitch.
Dude would struggle to tackle a mosquito.
The football, but like he triggers and he funnels things back inside. Like he'll funnel things back into action for you, and he's got a great trigger, has a nose for the football. But yeah, I couldn't really find a place for Billy Bowman on this list.
No. I want to bring up the white guys real quick. I feel like I have to. Hunter Wooler, I thought was really good in Mobile. Specifically like when he was covering tight ends, he did a really tough job of just like consistently getting mossed.
Yes, he was always in great position, and
the guy would just steal the ball. It was tough. But I thought he was in really good position consistently. And then Dan Jackson from Georgia, who I think is also a good player. A name that I haven't talked about at all this year, but whose tape I liked and I still like. I didn't like him as much this year. 5th-year senior, a little bit undersized, but I think he's a pretty good athlete. Former walk-on at Arkansas is Hudson Clark. So there's 3 guys for you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I don't think I really have anybody else to bring up here. Yeah, I mean, I could bring up Jordan Hancock, but again, I think he's more of a nickel than he is a safety. Even though he can play a little bit on the back end. But
you don't want to talk about Shiloh Sanders at all?
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good there on that front. I think I know what I need to know there.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, that's it. So going back through this here, building our safety here, we said Malachi Starks for man coverage, Xavier Watts for processing and route recognition, Kevin Winston / Jonas Senker for explosiveness, Andrew Makuba for fluidity, Malachi Moore, Lathan Ransom for run defense, Nick Eamon-Wari for versatility. Dalton, I'll give you one last opportunity to go on a little bit of soapbox about safety play if you want to here before we close out. Do you have anything else you want to say about safeties?
Honestly, I think I'm okay. I think I'm good. I think I said it.
We've made peace.
Yes.
Stop looking for ball production. Start looking for what they're asked to do. Ball production is important too, but
yeah.
Ball
production is cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
It is cool.
All right. Well, that's all we got. This has been another week.
Yeah.
The Daft on Draft podcast. And next week
we got a mock draft. We have a Daft on draft or Dafter draft.
And then some actual draft coverage.
Actual draft coverage. Heck yeah, brother.
We made it. So don't go anywhere now. If you stuck with us this long, don't go anywhere now. But that is it. That has been another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. Until next week, goodbye.